So, let's begin a quiet exploration, a journey inward. This isn't really about finding some kind of supernatural answer, but more about exploring the inner landscape that we all live in, a path into the very nature of our own being.
This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? I think we all know this feeling, this inner tension, a conflict that exists quietly, and sometimes not so quietly, inside each and every one of us. So let's try to understand these two forces a little better.
All right, so let's break this down. What are we actually talking about here? What is the mind, and what is the soul?
You know, the soul, that's everything that stirs inside. All of our emotions, the good and the bad. It's that feeling that keeps you up at night. But the mind? Well, the mind is something else entirely. It's a construct, right? It's been built piece by the world around us. All the things we've been taught, all the opinions we've absorbed, that's our conditioning. And then there's this third thing, isn't there? Something we almost forget about. Instinct. It has nothing to do with thinking. It's pure feeling. You see it in children, right? They can just feel another person's heart. Or in an animal, when it just senses a room. But then life happens. School, training, all of it. And that pure, raw ability to just feel, it starts to fade away. And you know exactly what this feels like, right? We all do. It's those moments of silence, when you're just left speechless. You had something to say, you wanted to say it, but you couldn't. That's the soul trying to come out, and the mind just shuts it down. It's such a frustrating feeling, that silence.
So you have to ask, where does that block even come from? This programming that holds us back. Let's maybe take a look at how this prison is built.
Well, it starts the moment we're born, really. We're shaped by everything. Our parents, who are usually just trying their best, they pass on their own conditioning. And then comes school and the media, religion, politics, all of it. And they all just add another layer, and another, and another, until eventually it gets really hard to see clearly for ourselves.
And this is a really tough thing to sit with. The idea that we're inside a prison, and that our own mind is the prison. And you can't get free until you first realize you're locked up. You have to see the bars.
But okay, if there's a prison, then that means there has to be a path out, right? A path to freedom. And it's not about fighting it, it's more of a journey, a process of deconditioning, of, liberation.
And the first step, it's always the hardest, but it's also the most simple. It's just acceptance. We have to be able to just admit to ourselves, I am conditioned. We all are. We can't really move forward until we accept that awareness. That's the key that starts to unlock the door.
So what does this path actually look like in practice? Well, it seems to come down to two core ideas. The first one is to question everything. Everything you've been told. Don't just believe things blindly. And the second one, experience everything for yourself. This isn't about just thinking about things or imagining them. It's about direct personal experience. It's about finding out for yourself.
You know, we have this idea in our heads of what a spiritual person is supposed to be like, right? Kind of serene, completely unbothered by anything. But let me tell you this story. There's a man who gets on an elevator, and on that elevator is a guru with his student. And the man, without saying a single word, just spits on the guru and then gets off.
So naturally, the student is just completely shocked. He asks the guru, "Master, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you react?" And the guru just calmly looks at him and says, "Because it's not my problem. That's his problem." And this is where we have to stop and ask a really important question. Is that freedom? Is that true liberation? Or is it something more like numbness? A kind of anesthesia? Because, we're already kind of numb to a lot of things. The whole point of this path isn't to fall deeper asleep. It's to wake up.
So how do you do that? How do you wake up? Well, there's a practice, a really powerful one. It's learning how to just observe things without immediately slapping a judgment on them. We all do this, right? We all wear a persona, a mask. We build it so carefully because we want to be liked, we want to be accepted, we want to seem smart or funny or whatever it is. But it's exhausting, isn't it? Living behind that mask, always terrified that someone might see the real you or that one little criticism might just make the whole thing crumble. Real freedom, though, it starts to happen when we can make a tiny shift in our perspective. So when someone says something, instead of our first thought being, "Oh no, what do they think of me?" we can start to get curious about them. We can ask ourselves, I wonder why they're saying that. What's going on with them? And in that simple question, that's where understanding begins.
And this is where we have to be really clear about the difference. Observation is just seeing what is there. That woman is wearing a red dress. That man has a stutter. Those are just facts. Judgment, on the other hand, is when we add a story that we've been taught. She's inferior. He's worthless. See the difference? That is the voice of our conditioning. That's the prejudice. That's the prison talking.
You know, what's amazing is that when you start to practice this, when you start to see the world without that filter of judgment, the world itself seems to change. Or maybe it's not the world that changes, it's our perception of it that changes.
The truth is, the world we think we see every day, that's not the real world. Not all of it anyway. It's the world seen through the tiny, narrow window of our own mind. We're only seeing a tiny piece of what's actually out there.
But outside that little window, beyond the walls of that prison, the universe is, well, it's something else entirely. It's so much bigger, so much more joyful, so much more fantastic than our conditioned minds can even begin to imagine.
And so that leaves us with one last quiet question to sit with. We've been talking about the mind as a prison, but that's just its conditioned state. What if we do the work? What if we actually set it free? If the mind isn't a prison, then what could it become?